Elon Musk says he will appeal the verdict of his case against OpenAI and its chief executive officer, Sam Altman. The world's richest person launched a legal battle against the company and its senior executives, alleging it had strayed from its core mission to benefit humanity. In a unanimous verdict, a Californian jury found the artificial intelligence company not liable to the Tesla chief executive's claim, stating Mr. Musk had brought his case to court too late. Mr. Musk insists that the judge and jury never ruled on the merits of the case, just on a calendar technicality, and he will launch an appeal. Mark Isaac is the New York Times technology correspondent and has been in the Oakland courthouse this afternoon. He joins me now from San Francisco. Now, Mike, can you tell us about the reaction that you observed and also that you had to this verdict?
Yeah, of course. It was, it was pretty speedy. We were actually in the chamber this morning listening to the judge hear arguments from both sides for remedies if the jury were to come back in favor of Elon Musk. And about an hour and a half, an hour and 50 minutes into that process, we suddenly get interrupted. We're not exactly sure what's going on. The clerk comes and talks to the judge and tells the judge that the jury needs to come back in, and all of a sudden we have a verdict. It was pretty surprising, but also pretty. It shows the extent to which the jury felt that Mr. Musk just didn't have a case, at least in terms of statute of limitations.
Yeah, so pretty clear cut for the jury and, of course, the judge who had the ultimate say. Can you just give us a sense of how it did play out in court over the past few weeks?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting case. We've been covering it for the better part of a month, and it was a case that's been a few years in the making now that Musk brought, essentially saying, look, the line he kept using when he was testifying was OpenAI is trying to steal a charity, in that they were converting their nonprofit entity that he co-founded with Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, into a for-profit entity now that it's become today. And so Musk wanted to revert that, as well as get $150 billion in damages and have Altman removed as CEO, which is a pretty tall order. But also, it's been like a real referendum on the character of these two billionaires. There's been a lot of really gnarly evidence dug up from the past, character attacks on both sides, whether Sam Altman is trustworthy as a CEO, whether Elon Musk is just trying to stall his competitors while building another product that is also for profit. So I think no matter what the outcome that happened today, both companies and both billionaires have really been dragged through the mud.
We know that Elon Musk is going to appeal. What more have we heard from him and his lawyers?
Yeah, so as soon as the verdict came down, we were outside of the courtroom and just started seeing, the counsel, the defense side, slapping backs and being pretty relieved. Musk lawyers are, first of all, they're saying, yes, this is immediately something they're going to appeal. But they also keep saying, and Musk himself has said on Twitter, that this is being tripped up over statute of limitations, but that the merits of the case underneath that or beyond that have not been decided upon. And look, I think it's fair to say we didn't hear how the jury found whether it was an unjust breach of charitable trust or not, because it just didn't get beyond the statute of limitations. They didn't necessarily have to. But if this were to come across a different judge in another court, if an appellate court judge were to overturn it and want it to go further, then we could see potentially another trial, or at least someone actually judging the merits of what OpenAI has done, and if it has been an unjust breach of their charitable pact in the beginning. So maybe it's not over yet, to be honest.
And I mean, is that surprising for you, the fact that this technicality put forward when it has been playing out, as you say, for the best part of a month?
Well, I think OpenAI actually had a very strong case. And so while we were covering this, we would just get frequent emails from lawyers across the country who were not at all, involved in the case, but just interested parties. And they would look at the facts and they would look at the evidence that were coming out, and they would see these emails from 2017, 2018, where Elon Musk clearly had some inkling of this conversion to a for-profit. well beyond the 3-year statute of limitations. And these lawyers would say, how did this even get to trial?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, my colleague and I were discussing this, and obviously with a jury trial, it can always be up in the air. But I think that was the thing. Like, if they can even see past the statute of limitations, then we can get to the rest of the case. But it was very hard for the Musk side to fight that. He just frankly didn't file it in the 3-year period that he was supposed to.
Mm. And, as we said, there is an appeal. But do we know likely costs here? Have there been estimates?
Yeah, it's funny. There's right now, usually the plaintiff will have to pay legal fees for both sides, and the thing is, like, for Musk, that's going to be a rounding error. It's something he's not going to notice. And I think really Musk only had upside this entire time, is what I would say. Like, OpenAI actually had a lot to lose. This company is trying to go public this year. They're fighting a bitter battle with companies like Anthropic and Google, as well as Mr. Musk, for market share in the artificial intelligence landscape. This was like another headache for that company. And so them winning this battle, even temporarily, is a reprieve. But they have a lot of other stuff to face. Meanwhile, Elon Musk can continue levying lawsuits all day long, and he has basically an infinite amount of money to do so. So I think the costs are minimal compared to if he wants to continue to try to slow down a competitor.
And what would you say the damage has been for OpenAI and Sam Altman?
One thing that I think this trial has been pretty brutal on is the question of character for Sam Altman. One thing that the lawyers on Elon Musk's side really dwelled on was there was a New Yorker article about Sam Altman that was fairly damning, and how he was basically an untrustworthy person. And I remember the Musk lawyers, the very first question they asked Sam Altman when he was on the stand was, "Are you trustworthy?" And after that was just a barrage of ways to chip away at his character. And I think even though they won, this has sort of like lowered their standing in the court of public opinion to some degree, in a way that, I don't know, they're going to, in a way where AI is already questionable as to how the public feels about it and if it's actually a good thing for society or not. So I don't think that's helpful for them as a company, or for their idea of AI being good for people at all.
So, Mike, zooming out, the path forward for OpenAI now, and also there's been a major reorganisation at Elon Musk's own AI effort, xAI. How behind is he?
So frankly, he's very behind as far as where he wants to be. There's these OpenAI, I would say the 3 real leaders in the space are OpenAI, and there's another startup called Anthropic based in San Francisco as well. And then Google, who actually has a developer conference tomorrow in San Francisco to show off their latest AI models and how far ahead they are. xAI, owned by Elon Musk, very far behind in terms of how competitive their AI is, what it can do, what sort of coding tools it can offer. One thing that's been a really big deal out here lately are the products offered by Anthropic and OpenAI that can create software, robots essentially creating software, which ultimately may take the jobs of thousands of software engineers. And that's a big deal, because that entire sector of the economy was something that only a few years ago, not even, only a year ago, was supposed to be one of the safest, employment sectors in the world. So I think xAI is definitely behind, as well as other big companies like Meta and Apple out here. But look, things change fast. They could catch up. Anyone could catch up at this point.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Mike, it has been great to get your take and analysis on this. That's Mike Isaac, the New York Times technology correspondent. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.